Hi, everyone. Welcome to this WiCyS webinar. My name is Laura, WiCyS Community Manager, and I would like to welcome you to this WiCyS webinar with Lockheed Martin on the topic of Capture the Flag 101. But before we start, I'd like to introduce you a little bit about the WiCyS organization. We often go off by our acronym WiCyS, as in We Sisters, because that's exactly what we are, a global sister cyberhood. We are a 501c3 with over 8.1 members in 70 countries. WiCyS is a premier organization with global reach dedicated to bring together women in cyber. Our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cyber. All of our programs and initiatives are made possible by supporting strategic partners. We have our professional affiliates, student chapters, equity advocacy community, mentor-mentee program, and so much more. You can view our training and resources in our website at WiCyS.org to learn more about the different ways to get involved beneath the WiCyS organization. All of our wonderful initiatives for strategic partners are Tier 1 chapters being Akamai, Amazon, AT&T, Cybersecurity, Battelle, Bloomberg, Carnegie Mellon Software Institute, Cisco, Ford, Fortinet, Google, Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, Optum, Syngeo National Lab, and Sentinel-1. Reminder, ask questions throughout the webinars. We have the experts here today, eager to share about the CFT. So please ask the questions and they will answer it as soon as they get to. And then friendly reminders to subscribe to our WiCyS newsletter so you don't miss any upcoming events, any webinars, and anything with our upcoming conferences and programs at WiCyS.org. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the Lockheed Martin team, and they're going to be speaking on the topic Capture the Flag. So I'll let them take it over for now.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for this talk on Capture the Flag event. I'm Samaida. I'm a cybersecurity software engineer at Lockheed Martin. And throughout this talk, we will often reference Capture the Flag as CTF. So here with us today are Suzanne Dove and Sarah Fries. Suzanne Dove is a systems architect with Lockheed Martin. She's also held technical leadership roles in the past. And we have Sarah Fries, who is a cybersecurity engineering manager at Lockheed Martin. We are so grateful to be here with you all today and share our enthusiasm with Cyber Capture the Flag. We hope to provide you with motivation, encouragement, and tools to get started with these fun and educational experiences. So, Suzanne, would you like to share a little bit more about yourself so that the audience can get to know you better?
Thanks, Sumida. Hey, everyone. I'm Suzanne. I'm a systems architect, senior staff at Lockheed Martin. I started my career as a software engineer, and then I found my way into cybersecurity research and systems security engineering at both Sandia National Laboratories and Lockheed Martin. And then I moved into my current role of architecting digital transformation solutions. Cyber may not be currently in my title, but cybersecurity is in all that we do. I like to play Capture the Flags to learn new skills, to network, and to have fun. When I'm not in front of a computer, I'm usually hiking or snowboarding or trying to play my guitar. All right, now here's Sarah.
Yep, I'm Sarah, defending Lockheed Martin Company and enabling some of the unique needs of business in secure ways. After taking some Capture the Flag events, I have recently been on the other side of the fence creating some of the Capture the Flag elements. And similar to Suzanne, outside of work, I enjoy the Colorado outdoors by camping, hiking, and skiing. Oh, you're on mute.
Oops. Sorry about that. Thank you for introducing yourselves a bit more. So, audience, we welcome questions in the chat throughout the talk. So go ahead and drop those in whenever, and we will get to those in the end. First, we're going to start off with a poll. So how many of you have done a Cyber Capture the event in the past? Let's go ahead and make that poll live.
And while we're waiting for that, Suzanne, do you want to highlight some of the focus for the talk?
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, Capture the Flag 101. There is a lot of content out there in the world, but we will be focusing on the 5 W's: what, who, why, where, and when, and the H, the how.
And our goal with this is to energize you with confidence and excitement and prepare you with a trail map for how to best navigate and prepare for cyber capture the flag experiences. So first off, we should clarify what is a capture the flag event. You may have played capture the flag as a kid in the playground at recess, but this is very different.
A capture the flag event in computer security is an adventurous exercise where you seek out flags that are secretly hidden. You will have to leverage creativity and technical skills to identify clues and seek out these flags to win points. These flags are often hidden in programs that are purposely configured insecurely. You can choose to approach these capture the flag events in two different ways: with a competitive mindset, where you seek points to achieve victory, or you can participate with an educational mindset to expand and deepen your understanding of cyber concepts. It's all up to you. There's no wrong way to approach this.
Right. And these cyber capture the flag events feel like games. Gamification enables you to leverage and build your knowledge and skills. In addition to serving an educational purpose, these fun games can also serve to boost your confidence and elevate your career employment opportunities.
You may hear us reference DEF CON, which is a popular and annual hacker convention. It is just one of the many places where you can participate in a capture the flag event. Okay, so in order to follow along, please note that we are going to refer to capture the flag as CTF today. All right, you may be wondering, what types of capture the flag activities exist today?
Well, there's a lot. You can see them on the screen, right? Many of these capture the flag events can only be accessed in person when you're on site at a conference or maybe a training class. However, there are a lot of virtual capture the flag events that you can explore as well. And one style is Jeopardy, where you answer questions and collect points. These type of capture the flag events usually involve you trying to answer as many questions as possible within a set time limit. And if you seek to sign up for a capture the flag event and it's virtual, it is highly likely that it's going to be the Jeopardy style.
Another style is attack and defense wargaming. In this flavor, you need to protect a computer or take control of another person's asset. These are complex events, and it takes a lot of effort to set them up and manage them. So usually they cost money, and or they're sponsored by an educational organization, a corporation, or the government. There are also mixed capture the flag events that include both types, and then private events that are invite only.
So the takeaway here is that there are several different types of flavors, and understanding the parameters of each capture the flag activity will help you best prepare and perform. So, Suzanne, who can sign up for a capture the flag event?
Anybody. Okay, so like most sites on the internet, there may be a minimum age, unless you're with a parent, but in general, anyone ready to learn can sign up for public Jeopardy events solo or in a group. Because I was told once at DEF CON that you always had to have a picture of a cat in your presentation. Even pets like to get in on the fun. They tend to get in the way and eat your food, but hey, they're always supportive.
And the point of capture the flag is to have fun, to learn, and to exercise those cyber skills in a practical way. It is a gateway to greater cybersecurity experiences.
Exactly. Please do not let imposter syndrome hold you back.
So what do you need in order to be successful? You need to be inquisitive, resilient, and methodical. There have been so many times when I've been in a capture the flag event and I have gotten frustrated. And this is completely natural. These games are hard. They are intentionally hard. So don't let the frustration ruin a positive, enriching learning experience.
Yes, you will notice that we did not call out technical skills here. We chose to focus on behaviors and the mindset. We feel with the right mindset, you will have a successful experience. You can learn the technical skills. So to say it again, with the right mindset, you can make the most of your capture the flag experience.
So why might you want to play a capture the flag experience? Well, there's a lot of reasons. You can pick your favorite flavor that resonates most with you. So one reason might be that you want to learn more about cybersecurity. You want to broaden your breadth and you want to expand your depth. Flex and develop those cyber muscles. Another reason might be to learn both offensive and defensive perspectives. Maybe at work you focus on one of these, Try the other side. You will get better as a result. Another reason is to learn more about recent vulnerabilities or to experience old vulnerabilities in new ways. Keep yourself fresh and relevant with recent developments. And if you're ego-driven or you want to build your confidence, gain the real-world skills to impress your friends and family and your coworkers. Or perhaps you go to these events because you want to network with other cyber professionals who are also participating in the Capture the Flag event. There are so many reasons to join a Capture the Flag event. But I'm curious, Suzanne, why did you start in participating in these events?
Thanks, Sarah. I played my first CTF because a friend who was in the cybersecurity field invited me. She knew I was growing interest in cybersecurity and that I had started to study the topic so I could bring secure software concepts to the development team that I was on at work. And I wanted to start to find ways into a full-time cyber job. I learned so many technical concepts during the event and had a blast collaborating with my peers on Discord. I was hooked. So for the same reasons today, I play to learn new things and to make social connections.
Nice. Yeah, I don't participate as much in Capture the Flag events, and more recently I've been creating some of the challenges. So for our audience, whether you're like Suzanne, who was initially energized by learning and leaning further into the cyber career, or if one of the motivators on the screen energizes you, or if there are motivators not on the screen, there are so many reasons to try and to join a Capture the Flag event. It is an event for any person at any skill level.
Exactly. And luckily, there are many places where you can sign up. I won't read through all of these options, but as you can see, there are a lot of different opportunities. You will likely have better luck signing up for a Jeopardy-style Capture the Flag event. As we mentioned earlier, it's a bit harder to find those attack and defense wargame styles, as they are usually offered at events that cost money or are private to industry. There are also restricted events that you may or may not be able to sign up for because they are hosted by companies or conferences for specific participants.
Yes. So here at Lockheed Martin, we have an outreach Capture the Flag event called CyberQuest that usually happens early in the year. And we stage that specifically for high school students to get them excited about cybersecurity. But this is restricted to high school students. So that would be an example of a restricted Capture the Flag event.
Right. There are a lot of events out there, even more that we did not list here on this page. Okay. And they happen throughout the year. Yay. So first, for live Jeopardy events that result in prizes like money or ego, one needs to plan ahead a little bit and search for the events that are being hosted. They're often sponsored by a corporation or maybe a conference like WiCyS or DEF CON. And you can usually find these through a Google search or looking for Jeopardy CTF events that are going to happen in the near future. You can also find Jeopardy events at any time of the year for learning. You can still earn points, you still have a scoreboard, but there may not be an immediate prize 48 hours after the event starts. Now, the attack and defense flavor, like we mentioned, is a bit more restrictive, so you do need to do your research and plan. SANS, if you've heard of that company, hosts these events, as do many other organizations, and they're available where you can register and pay to do this stuff. And then I also wanted to add that Hack the Box has opportunities that do align with this attack defense definition, and it can be accessed most any time for both learning and even competitions. The takeaway here is that there are lots of opportunities out there. You just need the initiative to jump in. Take charge, lean in. Please just find one to tackle this year. Start with just one. Simple enough, and it can spark great enrichment for your learning and your career. So I encourage you to explore the opportunities and share with the community your favorite Capture the Flag experiences to learn from one another.
Right. All it takes is some initial initiative to get started, and you all can do it. So let's give you some pointers on how to get started. First, be aware about ethics and safety. You must be careful about what tools you use, how you expose your or other systems. You need to understand the rules, and you need to protect yourself and your data. Yes, it is unfortunate, but there are malicious actors who may attack the infrastructure and the systems enabling the Capture the Flag event and those participating in it. It sucks. They're ruining the entire opportunity for the rest of us, and it makes me angry. Don't be one of those people. So knowing that there's unethical folks doing this, how do you play capture the flag events safely? Suzanne, what do you do?
Well, I take precautions. I usually set up a virtual machine on my computer to isolate my cybersecurity CTF activities from my physical box. I install the software tools that I use for CTFs only on that virtual machine. I'm also very careful about which network interfaces I expose outside of my virtual machine. And it's not a requirement, but it can be useful to have more than one computing device. I do have a dedicated laptop that I can break, I have, and restore if needed, and I take it to security conferences for fun and games. For example, if you ever go to DEF CON, assume that somebody is going to try to hack your devices. It can also be a game too. I take my burner computer and I join a network or networks at DEF CON created explicitly for the purpose of seeking and finding security failures by others on the network. Regardless of how many computers you have, make sure to keep backups in case something goes unplanned. I have messed up more than once and compromised my burner device in interesting and fun ways. At the end of these slides, we'll provide a few links about setting up an isolated environment like this, upon which you can start your capture the flag journey.
Right, this is a cyber game that involves intentionally vulnerable systems. And you don't want a game to create a real vulnerability on your computer asset or your data. So be very, very careful. Suzanne, you mentioned using virtual machines. Would you like to lean into that some more, or maybe how you prepare your capture the flag toolbox?
Sure, thank you, Sarah. I always start with creating that virtual machine to isolate my CTF activities from my host machine. First, a desktop hypervisor is needed. This software is what isolates that host computer and operating system from the computing resources of your virtual machine. VirtualBox is a software program that's a free option to do this, while VMware Workstation for Windows or Fusion for Mac costs around $150 to $200 depending on the version you decide to get. Then you need an operating system to run on this virtual machine. Several operating systems exist. They're usually Linux-based, and you can download them packaged with common cybersecurity tools, really useful for a CTF. You may have heard of Kali Linux. It's a very popular choice. All right, a couple pieces of safety advice. When downloading your operating system, make sure you download it from a safe location. For example, Kali.org is the website for Kali Linux. Don't go to here's my hackedkali.bad URL or something. Make sure you trust the link and you know where you're at. Because if you download it from anywhere else, it could mean the operating system was compromised in a malicious way that could cause harm to you or your computer. All right, and the next step, after you download this file, go ahead and check its cryptographic hash. A cryptographic hash is a checksum or a digital fingerprint derived by performing a one-way hash function. It's just a math algorithm on the computer program, on that file. So when you download this OS, this file from the website, a cryptographic hash should be provided on that website. You can see this long string of characters. So then you can look at that, and on your computer where you downloaded the file, you can run a command, and this command, they come standard with the Windows operating system, the Mac operating system, and Linux. And so you run the command on the file, and it will spit out that cryptographic hash, and you want to make sure the two match, what shows up on your computer and what's on the website. If they do, sweet, go ahead and use the file. If they don't, you need to start making sure, one, that you ran the right algorithm, and if they don't match, yikes, don't use that file and look into finding a more appropriate one. Okay, at the end of this presentation, we'll provide a few more links that walk through the details of getting one of these virtual machine hypervisor software programs and downloading operating systems and configuring this environment so you can start CTFs.
So in summary, there's a lot of variety of software that you can use, and you have options no matter your computer choice. It's a great aspect about cyber capture the flag events. They are accessible to all audiences.
Exactly. Okay, now that I shared some aspects about CTF toolboxes, Sarah, why don't you shed some light on the logistics?
Right. I'm going to hit on the mindset again. So as we shared earlier, there's a lot of variety of capture the flag events. And no matter what style you pursue, Suzanne and I feel that it's important to, again, foot stomp the mindset. First, expect to learn something new. If you're not learning something new, you're not doing it right, or you're not challenging yourself. Second, I want you all to embrace incorrect answers. You will make mistakes. You will learn from those mistakes. It's part of the learning process. So embrace it. Don't be so fearful of imperfection that you miss out on this great learning opportunity. Third, there's a lot of different topics and tools that you will encounter. Suzanne's going to give you a bunch of them in a minute here. But you can start with the topics that you're interested in or you have confidence in, and you can branch out from there. Start with questions or topics that are familiar to you. Start with some of the ones with lower point values or that appear easier. If the event allows it, maybe you consider competing on a team. You can learn a lot from each other. So like saving for retirement, cleaning a messy house, planning a vacation, or gardening, the point is that you start. Just like these other activities, give yourself the space to learn. Suzanne, I hope I set the mindset for the audience. So let's dig into some of the cyber topics that people can encounter in the Capture the Flag event. And I know you have a lot of expertise here. So where would you like to start?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks. Okay, first, a disclaimer. I am not claiming that you will see all of these in a CTF event, and there may be topics that are not on this list. That said, I'd be very surprised if you did a CTF event and none of these showed up. So let's walk through a couple different topics, domains that you often see in CTF challenges. First, open source intelligence. These are challenges that ask you to search the internet for public information to answer questions. It can be surprising how much information is free and open on the internet about a person, place, or thing. Steganography. This is one of my favorite kind of challenges. It's all about finding information hidden in not so plain sight in a file. See, it's possible to hide a secret message in a picture like a JPEG file or in a song like a MP3 file without affecting, by affecting the bits of data in the file, but without affecting how the image looks when you view it or how the music plays when you listen to it. You can find a lot of practice problems and examples online, so let's keep going. Cryptography. It is important to point out, as most CTFs have challenges that require decoding or decrypting a flag. First off, encode versus encrypt. Encoding is not encryption, but it is usually lumped in the cryptography category. Encoding is important for translating information into different formats for use across the internet and other purposes. For example, base64 encoding, it's used to turn binary data into printable text. I've come across many challenges that have base64 encoded text, and then when decoding it back into English characters and numbers, a flag is revealed. Okay, so now encryption. Encryption is the mechanism of encoding data, but in a secure manner to keep unauthorized people or things from reading the text. It's very common to find cipher challenges in CTFs, such as the Caesar cipher, where the challenge is to undo that cipher to reveal a flag. There are many online tools that are very helpful with this type of challenge. I also point out modern encryption algorithms on this slide, like block and stream ciphers, because there can be fun and complex challenges based upon understanding of the algorithms and the underlying math. Even though I've been exposed to these algorithms in school and even sometimes at work, I'm not an expert. Such challenges can be hard. That is the fun of CTFs. There's always something to learn if one is willing to put in the time and the research.
You're on a roll, Suzanne. Keep that great information coming. What's next? How about some of my favorites, maybe the web-based challenges?
No CTF is ever complete without common web application vulnerability challenges. Okay, so the Open Web Application Security Project, OWASP, is your best friend. This site lists the most common top 10 web vulnerabilities and provides educational resources for understanding, avoiding, and discovering all kinds of vulnerabilities in a web application. For example, a CTF challenge might be to enter structured query language, SQL code, into a web page on a form to try to steal a password from the backend database. And that password is your flag to solve the challenge. Or it might be to gain administrative access to a website by modifying the URL string because the website was not properly secured.
Yes, and when looking to learn more about web app vulnerabilities, OWASP is a perfect place to start. Let's continue with a few more topics that may come up in a CTF.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, more of my favorite, and another area where I'm a constant learner because there's always something new and exciting to explore. Reverse engineering. These challenges may present you a binary computer executable or maybe assembly code, and the goal is to understand the program, to discover how it works, and to find or expose a flag hidden within the program. All right, many tools exist to help you translate machine and/or assembly code back into a more readable format for humans. A few years ago, it was super exciting when the National Security Agency open sourced a software reverse engineering tool called Ghidra. It can be used to solve these kinds of challenges, and it's a fun tool to learn if you're into that kind of thing. A step beyond reverse engineering is binary exploitation. These challenges will show up in CTFs too. These types of challenges require you to identify a weakness in the code which you believe can be exploited to modify the execution of the code and then make that program or that computer behave in a way that is not desired, such that a flag is revealed. Finding such a weakness and then exploiting it often requires the reverse engineering skills to understand what is happening and then programming skills to inject that malicious code that you want to execute. These challenges can take time and effort, but they're worth it. They really allow a competitor to grow detailed knowledge of how a computer program executes.
Take a bow, Suzanne. That was a lot of great content. Hopefully everyone in the audience can use those insights and get started. So, audience, Suzanne covered a lot of great material. It is likely that you will encounter challenge problems around these themes in Capture the Flag events. But remember that the goal is to learn. As you do more Capture the Flag events, you will become more familiar with these and other topics, and you will gain confidence and skill sets over time. You've got this. You just need to start.
Get started today. Okay, enough slides. Let's talk about playing. A great Jeopardy example and a perfect place to do your first CTF, check out Carnegie Mellon's Pico CTF. It includes opportunity to try different cybersecurity domain challenges, several that were mentioned above, and it's excellent at bringing you into an easy problem first and then allowing you to explore and grow into harder and harder challenges. Another great place to start, check out the past SANS holiday hack challenges, especially if you want a more gamified experience. You create a character and you walk around a 2D world, learning about cybersecurity topics and solving challenges that start easy and then grow harder throughout the adventure. They have new challenges every year, and they keep the past challenges online to play anytime you want. When you're working these challenges, regarding help to solve them, on most Jeopardy events, there will be a hints button. You can use these buttons to get more information about solving the problem. That said, using hints may deduct the reward value of the challenge. For example, if it's worth, say, 10 points and you use 2 hints, it might end up being only worth 5 points. And that's okay, because learning and solving the problem is way more fun than being stuck and getting 0 points.
And your favorite search engine can be used to research information related to the solving of a problem. But be careful, you might find the actual answer. Which brings us to the topic of don't spoil it for others.
Good point, Sarah, thanks. The internet is full of CTF write-ups. Now, the act of writing down how you solve a CTF challenge is a really good activity. If you're considering any cybersecurity type of job, it is important to be able to learn how to articulate and document the steps you take to explore and/or exploit a system. That said, when you're participating in a live competition where trophies, bragging rights, money, and even job opportunities might be on the line, it's really uncool to openly post solutions available for the whole world to see. So please do document as you solve challenges. Simply be careful where you post the answers. Once a competition or challenge is formally completed and over, it's usually okay to put the answers out on the internet and share them with whoever you want, wherever you want. All that said, please be comfortable with searching for write-ups provided by others. One can learn by walking through a provided solution. It's up to you to decide if that helps you or if you want to completely figure out a problem on your own. All right, we shared a couple great ways to get started solo and some best practices to share or not share what you learned. Now, Sarah, let's talk about playing as a team.
As we talked about earlier, you can often join a team as you tackle a capture the flag challenge event. The first one I joined was a team event, actually. And this will expand your professional network and expand your skill set. If you're experienced, help out a novice or a junior team. If you're new, find a mentor who knows more. Partner with people who have different strengths in different areas. If you're like me and you have strengths on network security, partner with someone who's stronger in other areas like endpoint security or encryption. If you're joining a team where you do not know other people, be thoughtful about how anonymous you want to be. If you want to remain as much as anonymous as possible and it's within the rules, you can use a handle. However, if this is an opportunity to enhance your brand and you are intentional about being more visible, you may want to reveal your name. As always, read the capture the flag rules and always perform ethically. And there's one more item when you work on a team. You use a growth mindset, and it's worth checking in with your other team members on what their goals are. Oftentimes, the main goal is to have fun and to learn. And as we talked about before, though, not everyone has the same goals, so it's worthwhile to check in with your team members and see what experience they want to get out of the event. No matter what the goals of the team, remember that when you are on a team, you want to show up and be an energizer and a morale booster. Don't be a force on the team that generates frustration.
With all that said, start your journey today. Find an event, join a team, set up your environment. Just pick something and get moving to start learning and growing about how to do this safely and ethically.
And let's talk about some resources to get you started. I believe we have provided this PDF. Next slide. There we go. We believe that we provided the PDF, and you should be able to access that through the Bright Talk.
Yes, cool, thanks. Links at the top of this slide are sites at which you can start CTF challenges today, right now. The Sans Holiday Hack is one of my favorites. The live event is once a calendar year. It's usually late December through early January, but they keep the past challenges online and available for learning and playing year-round. Links at the bottom with the bullets, those are more about tools for solving challenges. The first link, CyberChef, is a necessary go-to site. Let's look at a few more resources for configuring one's CTF environment and learning. Thank you. Here are a few more resources to help you get started. Links to information about getting a VM, getting an operating system, setting that up so it works for you, and then general learning about CTFs, the Linux operating system, and penetration testing.
And before we hit some of the questions that hopefully you guys have been populating for us in by submitting some questions, Suzanne and I want to reiterate a few key points. What is a Capture the Flag event, and what should you expect from it? We covered a lot of expectations as well as a lot of topics that you should expect.
Yes, I went through a lot of the tooling, the structure, and the cyber topics that you will likely encounter. Please start familiarizing yourself with them today, as soon as you're ready and able.
Who can take advantage of these Capture the Flag events?
You can. No matter your experience level, age, technical background, everyone, all of you can lean into this opportunity.
Where and when can you take these capture the flag challenges? Remember that there are a number of options, and you should understand the structural differences of capture the flag events.
Yes, by knowing the structure and what to expect, you are better prepared and set up for success.
And why should you even do it? It's fun, it's hard. Both of those together make it a great learning experience.
Yes, lean into this opportunity. There are so many great benefits.
And how can you get started? Well, you can Google some of the online events and get familiar with the timing and expectations, and you can look at our PDF of links that we provided here.
Yes, a great first step would be starting to set up your cyber toolbox and getting familiar with the great variety of software tools that are out there to help you.
All right, so I think we budgeted a lot of time for some questions, but while we're take a look at some of those, Samida, are there some questions you want to hit up? Let's hit this
Yes.
one first. Suzanne, what are some capture the flag events that are good for people newer to cyber? You hit on earlier the Carnegie Mellon, Pico CTF, and then holidays, the SANS holiday hack. Is that good places to start?
They are. I would also suggest check out Hack the Box. Their ecosystem has grown so much in the past several years. I believe there's some excellent learnings that are even free on there. I need to go do more of my own research. And oh, I had another thing in mind, but I just blanked it.
Okay. Well, if it comes to mind, we can
Yeah,
always put on it.
sure. There's another look. Oh, and it depends on the kind of stuff you want to do too. In our links on the previous slide, I would suggest any of those. Check them out. They'll
And
have different domains and ideas.
And related to that, one of the questions is looking for free or low cost options. The ones that we are referencing are easy entry in terms of finances, correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
Free is always fun.
Yes. Let's see. We've got another question here. Can having the knowledge of capture the flag CTF help me break into cybersecurity? Yes, it helped both of us.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to hit on some of the ways you've learned, Suzanne?
CTFs?
Yeah, well, just things that helps you break into cybersecurity. I know for me, it helped me with some of my depth in work. I'm usually working on a particular style, and it helped me to get more of the offensive viewpoint, right? I'm very much a defender, right? And some of the capture the flag events, most of them actually, I was acting as an attacker. So by attacking, I got more of the viewpoint of what it's like to initiate attacks, and it actually helped me when I'm trying to do my role as a defender. Were there any ways that capture the flag events helped you with cyber security specifically that you want to hit on?
Yeah, definitely. Cybersecurity is such a huge field. So the overall answer is yes, absolutely. And then I would caveat that with, because I was in software engineering, I went exploring how to break software, how to hack into web apps, how to hack into software programs to supplement my knowledge to make my code better. And then I found out I loved it, and I just tried to move over into that field by learning more, meeting people. And say maybe you're more on the procedure policy side of cybersecurity, and that's where you want to go with life. Doing capture the flags can really help you understand the risks that are out there, because cybersecurity is all about risk management, impact to an organization, mitigating those risks and those impacts. And so find what you like, find that domain you want to be in, and seek relatable challenges to learn more about what people are doing out there that's bad, what you can do to protect yourself or your team or your organization. And armed with that knowledge, you can have improved conversations in your networks with managers, with career opportunity conversations.
Yep. So it definitely can help you break network and with the technical skills and with your knowledge. We got another question about what is the advantage of using a VM on your machine versus a burner laptop? There's different ways to approach this. With VMs, think about it's awesome because then you don't have to buy a dedicated burner laptop, but you also be thoughtful about the resources that you have on your computer. If you're running VMs, they're going to eat some of your resources. And I always like to have an extra degree of separation when I'm doing these type of challenges. So I prefer to have a completely separate one that I have a different computer so that I don't. So if God forbid, I do something and I make a mistake, which I often do to learn, right? I have extra degrees of separation and I'm not using an asset where I'm connecting to email or my banking. How about you, Suzanne? Your thoughts on that one?
Yes, it goes back to that risk impact mitigation kind of point. If I'm using Pico CTF, yeah, I shouldn't say this on a recording, right or wrong, I think of it as low risk. So I'll use my main laptop, I open my VM, and I'll go play some challenges. But I know if I'm going to DEF CON, I'm not taking the computer I do my banking anywhere near there. Who knows what people know? So I'm a big fan of the burner laptop when I'm really engaged in a community and environment where I know people were after each other. But if I'm on my home network, I feel pretty secure. The environment in which I'm interacting with the CTF is all about learning, and there's smart people behind its ecosystem. I'll just use a VM on my computer. That's convenient.
How
Got a
about
question?
Oh, is a Chromebook an okay computer to use for CTF events or cloud service provider?
Can you? I've never used a Chromebook. You can certainly access some of the online CTFs, and if you're comfortable with interacting with them directly, your choice. I have to research if you can. I don't think you can install VMs on a Chromebook.
There's certain instances. There's certain capture the flag events. They're more expensive to set up, but sometimes they create a virtualized environment that you connect into. A lot of times you're going to want to either a client or some kind of encrypted tunnel, VPN client, or maybe an SSH session to get into it. But some capture the flag events that are less expensive, they might be more web based and more question based. It's less technical, but for those capture the flag events, if you're interacting it directly with a browser and you don't need that additional hardware, then Chromebook might be fine. But I think in general, at least most of the ones I'm familiar with, you probably want a different asset.
Yeah. And the world is changing, as we will probably see more, like everything Sarah just mentioned. I'm starting to see more events that are set up in that way, where a Chromebook might be more aligned. So yes, and both. No. You can use it to get started. Don't let that stop you. There are ways.
Yeah, just know that there might be some that you can't participate in if you rely only on a Chromebook.
Yeah.
All right, Sumida, do we have another one that you want to hit us to hit on?
Yes, there were several questions about about teams and finding teams. What is a good way to find a team to get together for CTFs? Is there anything in WiCyS as well?
Yeah, so when a lot of times when you're doing these on site, there will be an area where there's capture the flag event help, or a lot of people who are doing the capture the flag might congregate, and it's a great way there if you're looking for people to join a team. Maybe you can do that. Sometimes I know with some of the WiCyS conferences, they have that set up where you can join other people. If you're doing a virtual event, sometimes you can sign up as a team. I know with the Lockheed Martin CyberQuest event, when we sign up high school students, we do it as a team. We have a maximum number of students who can be part of a team, and how many teams can come from certain schools. So depending on how it is set up, you might figure out the team during sign up when you are on site and in the middle of the game. And then sometimes you can network with anonymous people before the conference. Again, be careful with your identity and how you're connecting with people. But those are a couple different ways that I've connected with people to join on teams. Anything from you, Suzanne? Anything you want to add there?
Yeah, a couple more examples. One, depending your work, your school, is there a Slack community or a Mattermost community or a Microsoft Teams community? Most everywhere I've been for work or school, there's a cybersecurity channel, there's a group of people interested in CTFs. Look around and see if you can't find that group and get to know people. Look for a WiCyS, that's Bravo Sides cybersecurity conference. Their mission is to have local conferences that are full of speakers from your area, your community. Many cities and towns have those, and it's a great way to reach out and say, hey, I'd like to meet new people. A lot of times you'll find folks wanting to do CTFs and team up. Meetup. I've met some folks at various meetups, not necessarily called CTF, but women who code, local, I live in Colorado, a local Colorado developers group. I've met people through those types of networking events as well.
Awesome. Another question is, for people who don't have a programming experience at all, or very little, not a programming background, what would be the best? What are the best CTF events to attend in that case, or what would be a good way to learn? Or would you recommend? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think the ones that Suzanne called out, the Carnegie Mellon one and the Sands Holiday Hack, again, if you haven't done a Capture the Flag event before, some of the challenges require some coding background, some software development, but there's also a lot of types of challenges that don't require coding skills. So if you're nervous about not having a lot of depth in that area, I wouldn't use that growth mindset. This is an opportunity to learn some of that, but don't let it stop you. There's plenty of challenges that you can participate in that even with very minimal coding background, you can still solve a numerous number of challenges and learn and have fun along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I know many great cybersecurity engineers, because of the domain they're in, they may have no coding skills or limited, or they're learning on the job depending on that role. So yeah, the CTFs we mentioned, check them out. Go look at the different domains, the different topics, because you'll see lots of challenges that you don't need to know anything about writing a line of code. Maybe you find out you love reverse engineering somebody else's code. I believe if you look into the social engineering competition at DEF CON, the woman that won the last couple of years, she's never been around software, but she excels at that particular cyber domain and helping companies reduce risk through.
Yeah. And you can also try to partner with someone who's really good at coding on a team, right? And you can learn from them, and maybe you can bring something else to the table that they're weaker in, right? So yeah, don't start with some of the easy entry Capture the Flag events that Suzanne called out, and take a look at the different disciplines, and don't let any deficit or weakness or novice in any of the disciplines stop you from leaning in, because there's always stuff that you can learn.
Such a big field.
It is.
Absolutely. Thank you. And in terms of Docker containers, how can Docker containers be used for playing CTFs?
Yeah, depending on the event that you go into, it's nice to have your toolbox with you at all times. Just the resources you need, the software and applications that you want to leverage, and any scripts that you may have used in the past. Take a look at the different Capture the Flag environments, rules, and the expectations. One of the reasons why Suzanne and I spend a lot of time today talking about the different structure of Capture the Flag events is that depending on the structure of how it is set up, that will inform you of what kind of tooling is best suited and how to best prepare and excel in those. So if using a Docker container where you contain all of your software and libraries and tooling, if that is part of the rules and it's something that you can leverage, go for it. I think it's a great way to just keep everything that you need and not take on a bunch of overhead. But I think it really depends on what flavor of Capture the Flag event you go into and what the rules and the structure is like. I don't know, Suzanne, if you want to add anything from your experience.
Exactly. Preparing for this talk, I reached out to a couple professional pen testers that are in that role right now, and I said, hey, is there some new container hotness that's going on with doing your work? And the response I got was, no, we still kind of use virtual machines or different computers. So I myself, others need to do more research on what's going on in the world of containers for playing the games. I know that containers are being used to spin up challenges on a lot of these ecosystems out there. So it's something to watch. The world's changing.
Thank you. How important is Linux OS? How important is it to know Linux OS for attending Capture the Flag events?
I think it's useful. I think that you can be a novice and still have fun and get very far in these type of events, right? A lot of times, depending on the challenge, you might be trying to navigate different directories. You might want to look specifically for certain directories and certain files that you know involve permissions, or you can look into to see if there's a flag or an exploit there. But like Suzanne was saying, there's a ton of stuff out there that you might not even need the Linux commands, right? A lot of the web-based attacks, you might not be interfacing with that type of Linux code command line or structure, right? So I think I'm a big fan. If it's something that you don't know, lean in and learn at a base level, and then see if you want to go deeper. But I think especially as you're trying to lean into new Capture the Flag events, focus on breadth, get a little bit of everything, those great topics that Suzanne hit on, and then you'll find out if you need a deeper understanding to do more and more.
Yes. Yeah, exactly what Sarah said. You can find challenges that you don't need Linux at all. And if it's something you're interested in learning, start looking at some of the easy challenges related to not web apps, but more files, reverse engineering, cryptography, different things where when you start easy, you'll use the Linux command line, but it won't be complex commands yet. You can start with like easy things and then work your way up to more and more knowledge. And there's good resources out there in books and online if that's something you're interested in learning more about.
So I know we've got maybe about 5 minutes left here. So I'm just going to hit a couple of these. How do I prepare for a CTF? So Suzanne and I hit on a bunch of different things to think about. Look at the different ones that are available. So maybe start with some of the ones that we mentioned, like the SANS holiday hack later this year, the Carnegie Mellon one. Look for ones that are relatively cheap to get started so that you can build up your skills, and start looking into a lot of the topics that Suzanne hit on earlier that we expect you will see at least several of those flavors when you do a Capture the Flag event. Anything else to prepare for a Capture the Flag that you want to hit on before we hit the next question, Suzanne?
You did a great job. Let's move on to the next question.
Let's keep going. How to know the cyber topics through the question in the CTF. So I think the question here is, if you read a Capture the Flag question, how do you realize which topic is related?
Okay.
I think that's how I'm reading the question.
Yes, in a Jeopardy style format, usually I don't think I've seen any where it's not like this. The questions will be lumped in a category. So there's your first hint. Like if it says cryptography, it's going to be related to that kind of domain. It'll lump their challenges in the different domains so you kind of understand what's going on. And also a key thing to look at, when you read the description of the challenge, whether it's in the Jeopardy kind or on Hack the Box or even a defense attack, that's a little different. But when you read the words, look at what those words are. There's often a lot of information there. It'll mention a particular software or a particular known vulnerability or terms that you can Google and learn more about that topic and what's being asked of you in that challenge.
They might also be naughty and throw some false trails in there. I know we do that with Lockheed Martin CyberQuest for the high school kids.
Very true.
They're amazing. I tell you. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, look for the lumping together. Pay attention and be very be a detective when you're reading through the challenge question to see what they're referencing. And some of the harder challenges, they're probably going to blend some disciplines together, and it might be multi-step. So be careful on that. We got a question is, what is a flag? I understand the concept, but how do you know when you have found one? Is it a certain key code?
Yes. The competition will tell you what it looks like because they don't want you stealing something you shouldn't be stealing. And that's for a more advanced one. Majority of the time, it will actually say FLAG, and there's usually a curly bracket and then a bunch of letters or numbers and underscores and then a closing curly bracket. And so you're like, oh, this is the flag. And you usually cut and paste that whole string into your answer box in the challenge on the webpage and then hit enter and you get points.
Yep. So maybe two more, and if people have additional questions, we can find ways to answer those and get back to you. But what is the best way to do a write-up for a challenge? I am a big fan of making things very blatant and clear. So when I do it, I literally do step by step, and I often try to do screenshots. But usually for me, I write these for myself. I usually don't post them. Again, pay attention to the rules of what is okay to share and when. I know with Lockheed Martin CyberQuest, we will post the answers after the challenge, and we want to keep them on our website so that they're centrally located, and people know that when they're downloading them, that it's the true source and there's nothing naughty being hidden in there. So that's how I'm very explicit and very detailed when I do a write-up. Suzanne, how about you? Anything that you would want to hit on? The best way to do a write-up challenge?
I'm the same. I use my favorite document editor on my laptop. A lot of people use Git. Just be careful if you put it out there. If it's if your account's open to the world, password protect the write-up so you don't give away the secrets if it's a still open competition like we talked about earlier. So wherever you like to write things down, and just make sure it's available or not available for the rules.
I see about 4 more in the queue, but let's try to hit a couple and then we'll close out here. What cybersecurity certifications do you recommend once we get proficient at CTFs? I think CTFs play well into a lot of different types of certifications. Ethical hacking is a good first step, and then there's subsequent ones that you can go after. I think there's some specific ones that SANS has that you might consider as well. If you're doing certain capture the flag events and there's a big focus on a particular domain like cloud, maybe you'll consider, and that's an area that you want to grow in, right? Maybe you can look at some of the cloud specific certifications. And then the generic ones are Security Plus and CISSP. That's just generic cybersecurity certs, less so about penetration testing. But like we said, if you if you're doing offense, you're learning how to be a better defender. If you are doing defense, you're learning how to be a better offensive pen tester. So I think this is capture the flags are great for no matter what direction or certificates that you want to tackle. Suzanne, anything that you want to hit on there?
Yeah, check out SANS, check out OSCP. If you're into penetration testing, yeah, look up the common certificates in that domain area.
Yeah. So I think we'll get off the stage here. But before we go, we want to, again, we went through a lot of stuff, and hopefully you saw this theme throughout our talk, that we are trying to encourage you and help you understand that this is a safe place to learn. It is a fun place to learn. And it might be a little frustrating at times, but you're working those muscles and you're working your brain and you are learning. We know that this is a lot of content, but the point is that you take baby steps and you get started. Just like if you're cleaning your house or planning a vacation, like I mentioned before, the point is that you start and you make some progress. So it may seem daunting, but if you're feeling imposter syndrome, if you're feeling anything, just take baby steps. This is the exact same thing.
Exactly, Sarah. Thank you. All of us who have done this before, we all started in the same place where you might be today. We challenge you to take your first step and, in the WiCyS community fashion, support other community members in learning and leading into these growth opportunities.
Exactly. Pass it forward.
Thank you, everyone, so much for your time today. Adventure forth and
get those flags.
Get those flags.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.